Hello and welcome to week 4 of Decode Your Soul Map. All right, thank you for joining me, and apologies that I had to re-record this. I don't know what happened the other night. I've been having little issues with Canva, but I think we're friends now and we've got it sorted out. So let's jump in. Welcome to week 4. So we're going over profile, your role in life, and your relationships. So we go through how to find your profile in your chart. What is your profile? Why profile matters? How to understand your profile? The soul archetype. I've made a few mistakes here. Please excuse me. Soul archetype of your profiles explained, and common challenges with profile. So how to find your profile. So when you're looking at your body graph, it is these two on each side. So it's the top 4. So it always takes your conscious side first, which is, this is my one. So it shows the 4. And then the 6, which comes from your unconscious side. So it's made up, as I said, of the 2 numbers. First number, conscious side, which is your sun, earth, the top 2, which makes up your personality side. It's usually black on that side. However, it might depend on what charts, where the charts come from, what that software that website uses. So it could really be any color. So it just always refer to your right side as your conscious side and your left side as the unconscious side. So the right side, it represents your personality and what you are aware of in yourself. And then the second number, the 6, comes from this side, which is your unconscious side, in your earth and sun number. Sorry, earth and sun, the planets at the top, and this is your design side. And those numbers come from, and the planets were what was going on 88 days before you were born. So this represents what others see in you, and sometimes it's what you're unaware of. We can have a little bit of knowing in our unconscious side, depending on how aware we are within ourselves. And this is a really good way of being able to see, like, outlined what we're not actually conscious of. So it is a good way to be able to start to integrate and to start aligning with those things that we may not be aware of on our unconscious side. So it also represents what others see in us, the part of you that operates that's more on a natural and subconscious level. So what is profile? Profile ties the 4 pillars together. That's how we live out our design and how we embody our purpose excuse me for stumbling. I've been doing that the last day. How we embody our purpose in the world and how all that plays out. So your profile in human design is your personality archetype. Having the 2 lines together brings a complete archetype. Each one in themselves has their own archetypal description and personality, but when we bring them together, we're able to bring the both unconscious and the conscious and the unconscious side together to be able to meld those parts of us together to be able to know what our role best is and how we can really start to see how that can be played out in our outer life and our inner life as well. So you can think of the type, which is how your energy or your aura works in the world. Your strategy is how your energy interacts with the world around you, and how you how things, you can either respond to something or initiate things depending on what your strategy is. Authority, it's how you make aligned decisions, how you come to the things that are best for you in the most aligned way, whether that be instant from your sacral and your spleen, or whether you're having to wait and have patience with the emotional authority and the lunar. So your profile is the character that you play and how your purpose is expressed, how you relate to everyone and to everything. So what your profile is, it's the two numbers together, as we've touched on, that is your profile. It's how you move through life, connect with others, how you learn, how you fulfill your purpose, and that what you're here to do, and how you do that. I think this, I've touched on before how much I love profile, because it does touch on purpose and how you go about finding that, living that, and being able to help others as well through that, through your profile. It's a tool for exploring your karmic role here, understanding how you share your gifts, and finding balance between your mind and your body's needs. Very important. Your profile also reveals how you naturally receive support from others, be it in relationships, in your career, or in your life connections overall. So the profile numbers, they range from 1 to 6, and they come from I Ching, and they also relate to the gene gates. So the gene gates goes right into it a lot deeper than human design does, but that's where human design gets them from, is the gene gates, which were originated from I Ching. So then they combine to form 12 of the possible combinations, making up the full profile numbers. So your profile will either be a 1-3, 4-3, 2-4, 2-5, 3-5, 3-6, 4-1, 4-6, 5-1, 5-2, 6-2, and 6-3. You might think that there's some missed out, but those combinations don't, they're not offered, it's just the 12. So why profile matters. Your profile gives you a mirror to understand how you naturally show up for yourself and in the world, for those around you, as well as I said, for yourself. First and foremost, how you find that position within yourself, the archetypal patterns that you live out with yourself in relationships, career, and your work, and also in your life. It gives you insight into how you learn, how you experiment, how you influence, and how you evolve. Gives you clarity on what your soul chose to experience in this life. And I think that can be one of the biggest aha or light bulb moments, that we can kind of get in our own way or be in our ego sometimes a little bit too much, and forget that we are a human experience in this life, but we're first and foremost the soul that came to be in this human body that is living this life. So when we remember to honor what our soul is here to do, and our soul is us, it's not like a thing outside of us, it is who we are, and it does make up parts of our personality as well. But if we are too much in our ego, we don't allow the soul to be here to do exactly what it wants. And that's part of surrender and letting go of having to be in control. And that has been a big lesson for me. Remember, I know that I am my soul, but sometimes I can get in my own way and try and think that I know better. instead of allowing my soul to remind me what I'm here to do. And I think the profile gives you the clarity around that and the remembering. So also it gives you clarity on oh, I just said that, sorry. When you understand your profile, you can stop trying to be someone else and instead honor your unique path to wisdom and how you do all of it. And when we compare ourselves to others and, think that we've missed the boat, or, we're not on the path that we should be, or whatever we might think out of conditioning and out of society expectations, that can also be a thing that gets in our way. But when we step back and allow our soul and our profile to show us what we're here to do and how we do that is really empowering. So it also helps to understand, it also helps you understand your relationships, because profiles have natural harmonies and they have frictions between them as well. So the frictions can come into when we don't necessarily identify with a part of our profile, and it's usually the unconscious part, the part that I was saying before, that our unconscious can be what others see in us that we might not necessarily identify within ourselves. But once we can have more of an open mind to both sides of our profiles and allowing that integration to happen and honoring and living both sides, it really is a game changer. It's been, I think I've touched on it a few times, how knowing my profile has been one of the biggest things for me in being able to honor my chart and my design, and also honor who I'm here to be. So by clarifying the difference between your conscious mind and your unconscious body, your profile helps resolve inner conflicts and understand yourself on a deeper level. So how to understand your profile. Each line has a particular theme or flavor. There are 6 lines in total that make up the 12 combinations, and each profile has the two lines, just a combination. So line 1 is the investigator. The theme for line 1 is foundation, research, experimenting, becoming an expert through experimentation, and having inner security to learn how to have that. Line 2 is the hermit. So they have natural talents. They can have people from outside of them like just wonder how they know things that they will just know. And sometimes the hermit might not necessarily know that they're as wise as what they are until they start to integrate and to learn a bit more about themselves. So they love simplicity, but they also need alone time, which is retreating. And in that retreat time, that's where the hermit then integrates what they've just learnt while they were out and about and having their own personal space. And it is learning to have boundaries and being able to nurture yourself in those quiet times completely away from other people. It can be hard to create those boundaries when people don't understand, but once you actually start to honor yourself, you'll learn how to it'll become easier and easier to, when you need those times, and then when you come out of your cave, how you then share with others what you've actually learnt while you've been in your hibernation stage. And the hermit, it doesn't mean that you're going to be in there for weeks and months on end. It could be hours, it could be days, but it also could be weeks that you just retreat and that you need your alone time, whether it be on holiday and you just really have downtime. So it's honoring those two parts of you and whatever that your other side is. So 3, the martyr, You learn through trial and error. You are very resilient and learning through experience. So with the trial and error, you learn what works for you and what doesn't. But the trial and error is extremely important. It's in knowing that you are supposed to make mistakes, like we all do, but you bit more so, because I've understand from others, because I'm not a line 3, understand from others that can be a hard thing to accept and integrate, because they've been quite judgmental about themselves, about them actually making mistakes through life. And then when they come to realize, oh, that's actually who I am, it's okay for me to make mistakes. It's okay for all of us to make mistakes, but it's more so in the martyr, that you honor the error parts as much as trial and error parts, as much as the what's the word I'm looking for, knowing parts and understanding parts and that sort of thing. So it's that equal flow. So line 4, the opportunist. They're all about relationships and networking, and it's in the networking that you will find your space to be able to get your word out. Line 4s aren't really meant to like sell themselves. Once you start learning a little bit more about it, you understand that it's in the others coming to you and having that networking space, that it can just happen organically, that when you're having a conversation with someone, that someone might go, oh, I know someone that's really interested in that, or oh, I've got a few people that I think that would be interested in what you're talking about, or hey, I can introduce you to somebody to help you get to the next stage. It's in your inner circle that you will nurture your biggest breakthroughs, and you will have the most influence. So line 5, you're the heretic. You're all about leadership, projection, problem solving, and also coming to solutions. So in that leadership, you are sometimes picked as the leader. Sometimes you might not want to be that leader, but others will see that leadership role that you can embody and choose you to be the leader. That can be a sore point for some of the heretics, where they don't want to be the leader and they steer clear of stepping out and leading people. But when they do, they become more centered and grounded within themselves, because they realize that what they have to give others, they are the problem solvers. They do have the solutions. So when you honor that within yourself, it's a really a great point to nurture in yourself, and to see that, like, yeah, I do have strength in those places. Then line 6, the role model. They have 3 life stages, generally from 0 to 30. It can be 28 to about 33. Once again, 30 to 50. Those lines can blur a little bit. Excuse me. A few of my clients have said, oh, it's been, a bit further into my 30s. It's been, maybe 33. And then from 50 onwards, where you become the role model. So the first part is experimenting and playing. The second part is what they call on the roof, where you're observing and really starting to integrate what you've learned. And then from 50, you'll then help others, like openly help others. So you've got wisdom through observation, the reflection, and then the embodiment in those 3 stages. And you're here to inspire others to dive deeper on things within themselves, to be able to look at the world differently, whatever it might be. So each of the 12 profiles explained. So when you combine 2 of these lines, you'll get the profile combination, which shows your personal life theme. So the 1-3 is the investigator, martyr, the researcher, experimenter. So you learn through studying deeply and trying things out. As I touched on, it's the trial and error phase. You build solid foundations through the trial and error. I should just jump forward then. So when you allow yourself to have those mistake times, you're actually really building a strength within yourself that you can trust. Oh, it's okay to make mistakes because I'm going to come to a solution. I'm going to be able to find my way out of it. It's the stability and knowing within yourself that, hey, it's okay. Like I said before, we all make mistakes, but it can be more of a sore point for the 1-3. They need security and understanding before taking action. So it's security within themselves, but it can also be security in the environment that they're in. So that might be a relationship, marriage, partnership. It could even go to a like a work partnership. When you have the security there and you have that understanding, then of what your needs are, then you can then step forward and take action with courage to know that you're doing the right thing. So the lessons are that mistakes are your greatest teachers. So the 1-4, the investigator opportunist. Some of these names might not hit with you. There are a few different terminologies in human design that at first can be a little bit grating or a little bit harsh, some people have said, but once you actually start to understand what it stands for, it's the completion of that thing. It's the light and dark, I guess, of all of us. So the 1-4, the investigator opportunist, is the networking expert or teacher. So they build deep knowledge, then they share it through the network. So when they have that network, as I said, it can be that your inner circle, it will most likely be your inner circle. And when you share that, others will naturally come to you because they know that you can teach them and that you have expertise on things. So you rely on close connections for those opportunities. So the lesson for you guys is people are your bridge to purpose. So it's in finding those connections with others that you find your purpose as well, but only after you feel secure within your knowledge. So the 2-4, the hermit opportunist, you're the natural influencer or genius. So you have the natural gifts that shine when invited by others. So the invitation part is, I've touched on it a few times with like other parts in human design. It's when you are invited, it gives you then permission to be able to fully disclose, fully get involved, fully go into what you need to. And it's sometimes when we don't have that invitation by others, it won't be accepted, or it won't sit true. So you need alone time to recharge and to refine. That's the hermit. So like I was touching on before, it's in that alone time that you actually refine. It gives your mind space and gives your body space to actually integrate what you've been doing. So your lesson is you don't have to chase. Your gifts will call you. So your gifts will call the right people to you, and that's the being invited. So they will invite you out into that experience, or to share more with them. So the 2-5, the hermit heretic, they're the gifted problem solvers, naturally talented, and they may think that it's just like like everyone's like them, that everyone will just have knowledge, but they are quite gifted and they may be seen as from other people as extremely wise, but that person might just take it for granted that they're like, oh, that's just how it is. But you'll have this innate knowing when of wisdom. And then you can feel projected upon and misunderstood because of that position, because of the gifted knowledge and wisdom that you have. Other people may put on you like, well, how do you know that? And that you can't actually come up with a it's because it's that inner knowing. You may not have researched it, or you might have just researched a little bit, but then you have this extreme knowing on a particular topic, and you just have that innate thing within you that can rub people up the wrong way and could be misunderstanding you. So your lesson is to honor the need for solitude and discern which calls are truly yours. So the martyr heretic, it's the great life experimenter. So you're here to learn through the trial and error and then teach what works. When you make the mistakes, you're making the mistakes for others. So when you teach, you can teach them what works and what doesn't work. And it draws others in to help fix their problems. So when something is going a mistake, you can actually rely on others to help you through that as well. So your lesson is to model resilience, and failure becomes your wisdom and your biggest teacher. So the 3-6. Sorry, did I just jump ahead? Nope. 3-6, the martyr role. Sorry, martyr role model. They are the experimental wise ones. Lives life in the phases. So the experimental in 0 to 30, the retreat or on the roof part from 30 to 50. That's the integration, and then embodying it to be able to share wisdom and teach and help others and become the role model by your actions. So the early life is full of trial, and then you get to the wisdom that emerges later. So the lesson here is to trust the messy middle. It shapes your mastery. The opportunist investigator, a grounded networker. So built on a solid foundation of knowledge and relationships. You're the researcher, the experimenter, the knowledge seeker. So when you have got those, then you share with others. They will automatically know because you've put in the hard work of the researcher. And it is something that I've spoken to a few of the ones on, and it's just this thing that they have that's like dive down the rabbit hole, and it's usually those people that love to do it. So they need security and connections to thrive, and that's the 4 line. Knowing that your connections, excuse me, knowing that your connections are there for a reason, and that you don't have to chase things. That in your networking, that's where you will find your the connections, but also allow yourself to be able to form those friendships and to form those bonds within your networking. So the lessons that build your life from stability, not chaos. So the 4-6, the opportunist role model, influential guide. Your relationships are key. People learn through your lived example. So when you have gone through your life in those phases, then the people that learn from you look at you as the role model. So it goes through the 3 stages, which is the line 6, the 3 stages to then share wisdom with compassion, authoritative perspective. So knowing that what you've been through in the first 2/3 of your life, once you get to about 50, that has completely set you up for the wisdom that you need to get you through not just the rest of your life, but to help you stand in that role model position. So the lessons that you lead best through embodiment and authentic connection. So your people, like the word of mouth. So you will probably get most of your connections through word of mouth. And if you're if you're making sales and things like that, like being a coach or being a facilitator or helping others, you'll find that it's in people talking to people that you will get all your referrals or most of your referrals. So the 5-1 is the heretic investigator, the visionary leader, natural problem solver with a grounded base of knowledge. So being able to just have the solutions and really being grounded in that knowledge that you can find the solution. Doesn't matter how complex the problem may seem, that you will always be able to get to that the bottom of it. Might take you a little while sometimes, but you'll always get there. And others project leadership onto you because they feel that you can show them security with that problem solving, with that being able to have the knowledge through getting to the solutions. So the lessons, you must choose what roles you accept because not every savior role is yours. Discernment is a good one. So the 5-2 is the heretic hermit, the reluctant leader. So they have the hidden talents that serve others powerfully when called out. So they're the ones that may not realize that they have all these hidden talents, and then when they start coming out, might be shocked. And others can see it in you generally before you can see it. Not with everything, but with some things. They can resist being seen, yet they're meant to lead. I think one of the things that I learned, like that stood out most for me with the challenges for the profiles was this one, because then they really have, they not all, but they can have an aversion to be seen and to be wanting to hide away because they don't necessarily want to be in that role. But when they do actually embrace it and see the wholeness of it, that's where they find their strength and be able to really rely on themselves to be able to show up. Yeah, because they're meant to be a leader. So the lesson is honor your rhythm of retreat and of service. So 6-2, the role model hermit. So the wise natural. Again, the 3 stages of being the 6th line, which is the observing life, retreating, and then embodying the wisdom naturally to teach and guide others from their experience. Others seek your calm, steady nature while also retreating to reflect and grow. So people will want to call you out to be able to rely on you, but you will need to balance that those boundaries of being able to retreat back into your cave, so then you can have your rejuvenation time, because it's extremely important for you. So the lessons that you don't have to try to lead, you just are a leader. The 6-3, the last one. So the role model martyr, trial to wisdom sage. Your life is a journey of trial and reflection and renewal. Each stage reshapes you. So it's in honoring and realizing that the 3 stages are there to really build foundation for then when you become the role model to be able to then rely on all of your life experience to be able to help others and to become that role model. In that you inspire through authenticity and realness. So it's again in those life lessons, because you are able to be authentic within yourself, and you know that what you've been through is yours. You can come from a really true place, true grounded place, to then be able to help others. And that's how you build trust as well, because it's not fleeting. It's a part of you that's in the ability to share where you've been and what's happened to you. So your wisdom unfolds through transformation, that each phase refines who you're becoming. So trusting in each stage and knowing that there's no rush, that you're in the phase that you're meant to be, and it'll all come together. So some of the common challenges for profile. General profile pitfalls is trying to be or live someone else's archetype. And this can be when we're not really happy or don't really identify with what our profile might be. And it's generally the unconscious side, that side where others can see it in us, and it might annoy or aggravate us because other people are trying to encourage us or allow us to stand in our role, and we can't see that for ourselves. So that conflict can happen, and we might identify with another profile archetype that we go, oh, I actually like the sound of that. But then when you're trying to live that, you're not being you. You're not allowing your full potential to meld and come together. So rejecting your natural rhythm, so especially for the 2s and the 6s, allowing your mind to get out of the way and just to be able to allow that to flow, and realizing that there's no rush and you will get there. So comparing your path to others, similar to trying to be someone else's archetype, it's looking at how someone else might live their life, not understanding that they're actually, I'm not meant to be on that path of someone else. I'm meant to be on my own, and really cultivate and nurture where I'm supposed to be, and that will give you strength and groundedness to be your most authentic self. And in that is really that's where we can be our unapologetic selves, and to be able to have the courage to stand up to be who you actually are, whether it feels comfortable or not, as you go through the different stages or the different ages in your life. So forgetting that your profile matures over time, especially for the line 6s, trying to be a role model in your early stages or early ages, you might find that you have the tendencies to naturally be that anyway, that people will actually watch you or look at you or observe you, and you might just be that anyway. But when you're consciously trying to be the role model, when that's not your stage, and you're meant to be nurturing the stage where you're in, it doesn't allow you to really embrace and embody the stage that you're in right then. So another one is missing the unconscious line. So only paying attention to your conscious line, which you can see, and then totally ignoring your unconscious. And as I've touched on, the unconscious can be those parts of us that we don't necessarily like to look at, doesn't resonate, we don't want to know about. So we can shun that side, but it's a balance. They're both supposed to have their place, and they're both supposed to have equal parts in your life, that you learn to love both and learn to nurture both, because when you do, that integration and that merge of both really is your strength. And it's what others see in you that you don't recognize in yourself yet. So that can be a sticking point that, like, well, why do people see that in me? I don't see it. But allowing yourself maybe even to observe from an outsider point of view, that you can then start to see those aspects of yourself as well. So the common challenges with profiles, because every profile blends the two-line energy, here are some of the common combo struggles. So the 1-3 or 3-1s is the overthinking and overdoing. So finding that balance between the research and the experience. Well, I was just had a client yesterday who is writing a book, and it's exactly what she was talking about. When I was talking to her about finding the balance, that she's done so much research, she said, okay, I'm picking up what you're saying. I actually need to start putting things into practice now, which is the experience of it, to write the book, to get it out there, to be able to have that next phase of the experience. So it's not just all in the research, because we can get caught up in that and not be able to have that outward expression of all the things that we've learned. So the 1-4, wanting stability but relying on others too early, knowing that we can cultivate that stability within ourselves, and that we look to the outside, to others, to create that stability for us, can really throw us, especially if it's not a positive or nurturing environment, that we put our faith and trust in others, I was going to say too much, and not enough in ourselves, that we forget the role that we're supposed to have for ourselves and don't step up into that role, that we feel that we don't have the confidence or whatever it is, and we give away our power to others. So that knowing that we can create that stability and security within ourselves. So the 2-4 line, so loving the solitude but feeling guilty for disconnecting. So having that imbalance of, yeah, I love my alone time, but not being able to have those boundaries with others. And then others might be telling you or suggesting to you that, oh, I don't like it when you spend so much time alone, or I don't like it when I feel like you're rejecting me, or feel like that, you're more important than me. And it's learning to being able to speak up and stand in your own truth of those solitude times, and helping the other person to understand that that's exactly who you are and what you need to thrive. Because when they do have you and you are around them, then you're being your most whole self that you can be. And it's in the retreat time that you recharge and that you become balanced and centered again in your own wholeness. So the next one is through 3-5, fearing failure and judgment while learning through mistakes. So when you are learning, going through the trial and error phases and making your mistakes, thinking that there is something wrong and that you're judging yourself and thinking that you failed, when in actual fact it's your strongest point, that one of your strongest points, that learning to embody that and lean on that, hey, everyone makes mistakes, but it's when I make mistakes I actually get the more information, more stability within myself, more power, more knowing that it's okay to make the mistakes, because I will get to a point, I will get the knowledge, I will get the wisdom. So the 3-6, the impatience with growth stages, feeling like it should make sense by now. So the 3, as I was saying before, that the 3 stages, or the growth stages through life with the 6, knowing that you're right where you're meant to be, can be one of the most empowering things for the 6 to be able to embody. Because if you were meant to be ahead, you would be. That's not who you are. You're meant to just sit with the stage that you're in and in the phase, because when you fully embody that and allow those experiences to happen, then once you do become the role model, then you are the wholeness of who you can be for others and for yourself as well. So the 4-6, wanting to be the example but feeling pressure to be perfect. So the role model, wanting to stand in your knowingness, but also feeling like you have to be perfect in everything that you say. And showing to others that it's okay to not necessarily be in your, I don't know how to explain this one, knowing that like you have the knowledge, but being able to articulate that and be that example for others, that perfection trait can come in, where you don't want to step forward if it's not perfect, instead of just showing yourself to others what warts and all. And it's in being able to allow others to see those parts of you that actually teach others, oh, it's okay to be me. We all have the darker shadow, so the shadow and light, and those dark points that we might see about ourselves are quite often the characteristics or the lessons that we learn for ourselves, but also that others can watch us learn and learn from us and be able to accept and integrate within themselves. So the 4-1, the struggles between wanting security and desiring freedom, so that feeling like they need to have the outside security instead of being able to nurture it within themselves. Yes, having the outside environment and family and relationship security is fantastic, but when you're only relying on that, it doesn't allow you to cultivate it within yourself. And sometimes it might feel like it's too restrictive and that you really need freedom. So having that balance between both and knowing how to integrate both of those points. So the 5-1 is overcarrying others' expectations and struggling to maintain boundaries. So when we're overcome by others' expectations, we can carry it too much. We can have the weight of the world on our shoulders through what other people are expecting of us, instead of being able to stand in our own right and our own boundaries and be able to have a voice of what's good and right for us. And then, like I said, struggling to maintain those boundaries and how to voice that and how to actually put that into play in your life. So the 5-2, wanting to retreat but feeling the world's demands for your wisdom, really knowing that you have things to share, but also that conflict within yourself that you just want to retreat, that you just want to run away. So allowing those 2 points to be able to really sit well together and to be able to have that balance with both. So the 5-2, wanting to, I just did that one. The 6-2, feeling pulled between the solitude and then being the role model. So some of the 6-2s that I've spoken to really don't want to embrace the role model, can't see how they can help people. Pardon me. And then they just are wanting to be in solitude and hide and, keep themselves away from being that role model. And that's where a lot of frustration and disappointment can come in for the 6-2s, because they are meant to be the role model. And when you're not allowing yourself to be the wholeness of who you are, it can be a big struggle. So the 6-3, experiencing deep trial phases and doubting your progress. So sometimes the 6-3s can get stuck in not realizing that the trial phases are there and not be able to allow themselves to move forward, that they get stuck in some places, and then doubting that you can progress and doubting that you will progress into the next stages. So coming to a close for the whole course, I just want to say thank you all for sharing this journey with me. Thank you for all being on board and being a part of this. I've really loved being able to put this out and share the 4 pillars and learning how to decode, still having trouble saying it, decode your soul map so that you can really become more centered and more aligned with who you're here to be. So now that you have the fundamentals of the Decode Your Soul Map, the 4 pillars of human design with the type and strategy, authority and profile, the rest of your journey is all about integration, living it, experimenting with it, and watching your personal alignment unfold. You came here with a design, a purpose, and a role that only you can live and fulfill. So thank you for saying yes to discovering yourself. Okay, so I was talking about this the other night when it didn't record properly, but I will tell you all again for those who weren't on the call. For those of you that have loved learning the foundations and are hungry to go deeper, the next step will be an intermediate course where we dive into the centers, the gates, the channels, and what will be like how to integrate all of those. There's so much information, so it probably will be a 6-week course. There's a lot more content. There'll be a lot more to be able to take in and understand about yourself. But I wanted to be able to put the 4 pillars foundation course out there to then be able to build on that. So it's basically how your energy flows through your chart and expresses itself through your whole design. So the centers, the gates, and the channels. I think the 4 pillars are a little bit more like structured, where there's all the variations, but where the centers, the gates, and the channels come in, there's so many variations, and that's where the nuances come into play. So you'll be able to find out what really makes you unique diving into the intermediate course. It's where your chart really starts to come alive. And I'll be sharing more details with each of you when I do the one-on-one readings. And I've already sent out the feedback form for you all to fill in. So when I receive those back, I will then send a link for the booking to book in for your human design reading with me. And that's where I will also reveal a gift for those who want to continue working with me. So thank you all so much. I just want to acknowledge and say thank you to all of you for being a part of this journey with me, because it's meant so much that I have. Much love to you all, and thank you.